I'm Mitch,
I'm Keith,
and this is the
Layman's Term Show.
The Layman's Term Show, where a couple lay people,
Not clergy,
talk about where life and faith intersect and have some fun conversations. Hey, thanks for joining in this week. This week we're talking about giving God our worry and receiving God's peace. So handing over worry to God and receiving His peace. I want to start off with a quote from Michel de Montaigne. About 500 years ago, he said, "My life has been filled with terrible misfortune, most of which has never happened."
Yeah, that's so accurate. I have clinically diagnosed anxiety, and so I want to make a clear distinction that there's a difference between anxiety, like a diagnosis,
Yep,
and just general like
worrying,
fear and worrying, right? So we're not saying that if you have clinical anxiety, you just need to knock it off, right? Because
right,
like, you need,
exactly.
You need help. Go get help, right?
You need, get professional help.
Get professional help with that.
And I would like to say get professional help, but don't forget to invite God into the situation with you.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
It's not like, oh, man, I have a clinical thing.
Yeah.
That's too big for God.
Yeah.
I'll do that clinically.
Yeah, exactly.
I'll save God for, making sure I show up to the meeting on time and, the small things.
Yeah. But the big things,
stuff,
I don't want to waste his time.
Don't want to bog him down with that.
Yeah, of course.
All right.
So I want to talk about maybe like an example of fear that a lot of people can or like worrying where a lot of people can relate. Maybe your job is going through a reorganization or something, or gets bought out by another company, and so there's some change going on, or maybe you're just not happy with your job, but you don't necessarily want to leave the job because it's like, well, what if I don't like what if I don't like my next job, right? And so a lot of work stuff can be in that worry and fear, right? And so I think that's probably one of the biggest things a lot of people in life goes through, that they go through is that job stuff, right?
Yeah.
And I think that the point is to not let it's okay to have a little bit of fear, have a little bit of worry, recognize.
Yeah, let's break that down for a minute.
Yeah, okay.
So fear is good. I think we talked about this before. Fear is what actually can keep us alive.
Yeah.
So real fear gets your attention. It comes out, grabs you. That's a bear. Right?
Yeah.
That real fear creates a real response, fight or flight. It's
Don't walk down the dark alley at midnight. Right?
Survival mechanism.
Yeah.
Okay. Worry is the fabrication of the mind that we go and take a perceived fear or a not necessarily a real fear or a perceived real fear that's just not imminent. Okay.
Yeah.
And then we take it and our imagination or our memory, right, with work or relationships or parent, like you cycle back to a past experience, and then you go fabricating these worst case scenarios and beyond in your brain. So you're using all this brain power to emotionally drain you.
Yes.
For something that may, we'd read a study that said about 90 or 85% chance that won't actually happen.
Yeah.
On the stuff we worry about.
Yes.
So that's where we're going.
I worry about situations that impossibly can't happen.
And see, I think whenever our worry snowballs into consuming our functionality, that's where you're getting into this anxiety you're talking about, right?
Yeah, exactly. And so, if you're worrying about something so much that you can't sleep, you can't really enjoy time with your family, You can't sit down and watch a movie without thinking about it all the time. That's where you're really crossing that line into probably need to seek some professional help, right?
Yes. Yeah, I did a little research with, I don't even want to make you nervous, like rattling them off, but like the Mayo Clinic's list of, the common symptoms of anxiety.
Oh, yeah. What are they?
Feeling nervous, restless, tense.
Yeah.
Having a sense of impending danger, panic, doom. Having an increased heart rate, breathing rapidly, hyperventilation, sweating, trembling, feeling weak or tired, trouble concentrating or thinking about anything other than the present worry.
Yeah.
So these are,
Yeah.
I mean, this is stuff,
legit.
This is stuff you're talking about right now. Having trouble sleeping.
Yep.
Experiencing gastrointestinal problems, just like manifesting itself physiologically.
Yeah.
Having difficulty controlling the worry. I think that's like all of that combined. All those things. And then having the urge to avoid things that trigger the anxiety or the other symptoms.
Yeah.
Which I find interesting, because that's where I fall in here in the avoidance thing.
Like when you stop texting me, like all of a sudden.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly like that. It's like, man,
we're
this
texting
guy's
back and forth, and then all of a sudden it's just like, I'm gonna avoid that.
Yeah, you can talk to a lot of people. I am a ghoster of text conversations. I'll set the phone down. Here's my big one is like, I'll read the thing. Kids don't do this at home. But like it'll pop up, or I'll listen to it. Like I got the fancy truck
that'll tell you like text message from Keith.
Are you coming? You are late, right? But I'll listen, but then I won't respond while driving.
Very smart.
Very responsible.
Very
thank
responsible.
you. And then, you
forgot about it.
The little blue notification bubble's now gone because I've listened to it.
You've listened to it.
So,
I do that sometimes with email too. Like I'll see it and I'll read it and go, I need to respond to this, but not right now. And then I just forget about it. So now I don't read it. Because one of the things I hate the most, we're going on a tangent, but one of the things I hate the most is when you look at somebody's phone, like they're having a problem with their phone, they like show it to you, and their email box is like 162 notifications or something. Don't show it to me. Don't show it to me. Or like all their apps are like, their Target app has 3 notifications, and like it's notifying and don't. Oh my, 4,702 and 26 missed calls. 29. How many of those are voicemails versus calls?
I don't know.
I don't know. I don't care. That like my.
How does that
which
symptoms?
That's not even an anxiety thing. That's like a strength based thing right there. Anyway, you want to hear a funny story about one time that I just ridiculous. So we're at the lake.
Are we talking worry now?
Yeah.
Okay.
So we're at the lake. We're having a good time. Kids are tubing, and I'm laid back, watching them tube, and just this thought pops in my head of like, what if the engine blows up right now?
Okay.
And it just
on the boat.
Yeah. And it all consumed me, because I was like, well, if the engine blows up, I don't have a life vest on. The kids got a life vest on. I need to jump out and like undo the tube from the boat.
Yeah, because it's going down, baby.
Right, you know what I mean? And so I'm like planning in my head what happens if the engine blows up. And it's like so bad. It's so bad that we get back to the cabin about 30, 45 minutes later. Get the boat undone, and we're sitting down having lunch. And my watch goes off because my heart rate's like 160 beats a minute, right? Like
getting a cardio workout.
I'm like in semi cardiac arrest over here because I'm thinking about something that scenarios. Like, why would you even think about that? Right.
So that's
clinical.
Is it really?
Yeah, that's clinical. That's
dude.
Like why should you even but that's kind of your point. Like, why do
you? Dude, I do that.
What? Well, you should go see somebody.
Like the whole worst case scenario, plan out the.
But do you let it all consume you?
It'll suck the fun out of stuff.
Well, yeah.
For sure. Do you like lakes? murky, dark water. You can't see the bottom of it.
I don't like that.
Lots of children.
Yeah, I don't like that.
I don't like it at all.
I'm not enjoying that.
No fun in that.
That's why the lake we go to is you can see the bottom.
Yeah, the lake I go to is called a swimming pool, and I can see the bottom.
Swimming pool, yeah. And you know what's in it.
I know exactly what's in it.
No, I mean, so I still, tell me if you do this, I still think about conversations from over a year ago and how maybe I should have said this. Maybe I should have said this. Well, and then they said this. I should have said this. Or like even just a situation from years ago, maybe I should have done this and that. But the problem is when it consumes you,
you're prevented from
doing anything else,
yes.
Right? And then next thing you know, like an hour goes by and you're just sitting there, or whatever. Oddly, a lot of it happens in the shower. People have shower thoughts, where they're like,
podcast related to that.
Oh, shower thought, Mine's like shower worry.
Okay.
I don't know why. Because you're just in there.
Is your floor slippery?
No.
Okay.
No, I'm not worried about the shower. I'm just, you're just kind of doing your thing.
Oh, yeah. You're in the mindless
goes.
routine, so then your mind takes this opportunity to consume you with something.
Yeah. So,
dude, well, this is... Let's bring in some theology and talk about what in the wide world of sports are we supposed to do with this? Because we all do it.
Yeah.
It's part of the human experience.
It is.
It's been around our whole existence. I don't know if the animal kingdom worries or just responds and reacts to real fears real time as they happen. So I think this is our deal. Being able to
I don't think
project.
the animal kingdom thinks about an elephant doesn't think about.
Well, an elephant forgets, man.
What could happen, right?
Or does it have a great memory?
Elephants are smart.
They never forget.
They never forget.
Okay. Well, let's just snowball with some snowball. Let's just rapid fire.
Rapid fire.
Because snowball is what our worries do into anxieties, but
I bet you're not going to use the reference that I would use.
All right, good. We'll do mine.
Okay, you do yours.
So Jesus says, Matthew 6:27, can any one of you, by worrying, add a single hour to your life? And what I love about this is how intelligent the phrasing is.
Mm-hmm.
Because Jesus could have said, guys, stop worrying.
Right? This is when he's on the boat, right? When he's on the boat and he's taking a nap. Isn't that the
Man, I don't have
right
the rest
reference?
of the scripture in front of me. I just pulled this nugget out. So, but he states it in a question. So if you've ever, and I think it's with my mind's more simple than other people in my life.
Okay.
They have a more, a beautiful mind, a complex mind.
Okay.
Certain people, they're going to remain nameless. But their mind has higher computing capabilities than mine to process all sorts of random things in different cabinets and drawers of their brain at different times.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
Sometimes, to get some attention to the situation at hand, I got to throw something in there to scramble the senses. Right? Like a real fear. A real fear draws you out of in your head into the reality that you're in. Okay. Right? I think that's what Jesus does when he asks us this question. Because if he would have said, guys, just stop worrying. That would just, bloop. That's a statement right in the ear, out the other one. Thanks, Jesus. Super unhelpful. But he's like, hold on, guys, I have a question. Can you, by worrying, extend your life expectancy?
And again, I want to point that there's a difference between fear and worry in this situation, right? Because I think fear can add hours to your life. Fear getting in a car crash, so you wear your seatbelt, right?
Talking about worrying.
Yeah, exactly. No, I just want to make that point. Because I think too many people confuse the two or think that they're the same.
No, fear is real and good.
Right.
Worry is where we take a fear
Exactly.
and our imagination runs away
Right.
with it to the point that we're incapacitated to effectively respond to it.
I've been thinking for the past week since we kind of posed all this, right? Like this is what. So I've been thinking for the past week, and I've been thinking about that verse. That was actually going to be mine. So you did good. And I can't think of anything where worrying has added another hour to my life.
Not worrying. Responding to fear?
I'm agreeing.
You're
I'm agreeing with Jesus.
All right. Wow. Okay.
Like,
So
I thought for a whole, I was thinking for a whole week, I was like, man, there's got to be one example of where worrying about something has actually, improved your life.
well, no, because I
don't think there is. I challenge our listeners.
I think this is
find
what
one.
this is what changes. I think this is what changes is when you find a solution or a resolution on something that you're spinning your wheels on, that your brain is, it'll turn out to it turns out that you weren't worrying, you were problem solving, right? So when it does add an hour to your life, when it does prove fruitful,
Yeah.
it wasn't actually worrying. Does that make sense?
Sure.
Then all of a sudden,
there's
you thought-
there's a fine line between problem solving and worrying.
You thought you might have been worrying about something, but actually you were working out the solution to a problem that actually existed. So then it wasn't a worry.
Yeah, but
It was
there's
a
that
rational fear.
line though, and I think we cross it too much, right? Into worry, right?
I think
there's a
we're-
difference between okay, you don't like your job, and you're processing the pros and cons of staying in your job or your company,
Okay.
and finding a different job, right? That's one thing. But I've been in situations where we know that there's going to be a restructure coming down the pipe. There's rumors of it. People are talking about it. There's no concrete details of anything, but you're just talking about it all the time with people.
Consuming.
It's just consuming you, right?
It's the social media of the office space.
Right. And so there's a difference between, hey, there's a restructure coming down. Sounds like it. I don't know if it's going to affect me or not, but maybe I should find a different job because I'm tired of restructures coming down, and maybe I should have a backup plan in case something happens. So that's normal problem solving. What could you do to prepare for the situation that might happen? Worrying is different. Okay, you pulled out your Bible here.
All right, so let's get right into actually what Jesus is talking about here.
Yeah.
He's talking about money and possessions.
Oh,
All right.
yeah.
So no one can serve two masters, for you will
That's right.
hate one, love the other. You will be devoted to one and despise the other. You cannot serve both God and money. That is why I tell you not to worry about everyday life, whether you have enough food and drink or enough clothes to wear. Isn't life more than food and your body more than clothing?
Oh, yeah, it's so good.
Right? Okay.
That's so good.
You want to talk about that for a minute?
Yeah, because we had I'm in a small group, and we just finished a book on fear,
Okay.
and I think now that I think about what these guys were trying to talk about is they were actually not really talking about fear. They were talking about worry. You know what I mean? Like I think they now that I think about it, anyways, I won't mention the book or anything like that, but it's like a study guide, and it's about fear or whatever. But it just,
Are they not a sponsor?
They're not
Okay.
a sponsor. Definitely not a
So
sponsor.
they remain nameless.
And this would line up really well with that because, the worry of, do I have enough money? Do I have enough stuff? What if there's an emergency and I need 6 months of living expenses, and then I need a freezer full of food in case, like this happens or that happens
Then
or
what
whatever.
if the power goes out, Keith?
I know.
Then
That's-
you need a
have cans.
generator.
You need cans, you need a generator, you need this, you need that, you need this, you need that. Okay? That's all worry. That's not fear. Because I think fear is based in some reality.
Yeah.
Right? Okay, and worry is not based in reality.
No, it's our imagination, and memories, and
exactly. Yeah.
Our world, they're going to blow your mind.
Do it.
We don't even actually perceive reality as it is. We're projecting, our brain's working in advance to project probable possibilities that we're living through. We're not actually processing all our data in real time.
I kind of understand where you're going.
Right? Like, I have all this hardwired, learned knowledge over time that when I walk out of this room, I'm going to grab that door handle. It's going to be metallic. It's going to do a quarter turn. It's going to revolve the mechanism inside, and it's going to let me out. Right? There's not...
Sure.
I've learned things and making assumptions that allow our brain...
Right, like when you sit down on this stool, you know it's not going to break.
I don't have to test it every time. I don't have to knock on the wood and make sure it's, press board.
Mm-hmm.
Right, so we're... And I know that sounds like, well, duh, Mitch, like, obviously. Duh. Mitch. But we're not using that. That's the world we're living in.
Well,
it isn't that far of a jump whenever you say, oh, we're making all these finite, grounded, concrete predictions all the time. It's not that far of a jump to say, oh, we're going to have some that are so wildly off base. Where did those come from? Mm-hmm. Well, they're coming from fear, which, fear coupled with our imagination and our memory and historical experiences, which are all good things. But we have to keep them in check. Because that's when it runs away.
Yeah. Yeah, I do like this. I do like this verse and talking about, or series of verses and talking about, money, and you can't serve two masters, right? Because you can't serve the master of worry.
Yeah.
It's impossible to serve that master.
Yeah, when it shows up,
you know what I mean?
You either make it God or you let God be God.
Yeah.
So either it's the God of you.
Yeah.
It's what
consumes you. It's what you worship.
Yep.
Is the worry, is the fear, the worry, the doubt, or you worship God and you know that He's going to help you through that.
Yeah. I mean, to get super cheesy, we're super cheesy. We're actually talking about that. I think the sign's out here in the lobby. But, don't tell God you have a big problem.
Tell God
tell your big problem you have a big God.
Something like that. Right. Tell your problem to your big God. I don't know, something like that.
Yeah, but that's what we're talking about.
Yeah. I bet that's cross-stitched on somebody's wall.
Guaranteed. Well, all right. I know we're
getting wrapped up.
We're spending some time getting wrapped up here, or I mean,
we should.
Keith, the unlandable plane. But I want to get a little further because I had another scripture that I really like. Letter to the Philippians. Paul writes, "Do not be anxious about anything, but in every situation, by prayer and petition, with thanksgiving, present your requests to God." Okay, so
I want to pause for a second.
Yeah,
I just want to say, with thanksgiving.
Yeah, he puts it a structured deal.
So jinx, pinch poke. This is me, and this is just a personal tick that I have.
Yeah.
I always approach God in my prayer thanking Him off the bat.
Yeah. Start with gratitude.
Right? Like, because my life could be a lot worse, and it's not, right? And I think God has a good portion of that, right? Like, and I think this is where, not to get super, theological or whatever, but if you're listening to this podcast, you probably believe or think of, God in some way, right? You're probably not an atheist listening to the show. I think that's the difference between people that believe in God and people that don't, is that when you look at your life and you look at everything that you have, do you thank yourself for all your hard work or do you thank God? And I think that if we could just approach God with thanksgiving first, it would change so many perspectives. You know what I mean?
Well, yeah, and I think that's why where I was exactly headed with this verse. By prayer with thanksgiving. All right, so get your approach God with gratitude. Mm-hmm. Gratitude for whatever. There's always something in some situation, even if it's okay, I'm still breathing. Right? I'm still breathing.
Yeah.
Then you go to the next step of you're in the situation. You're still breathing. So let's be grateful for that. And then bring, your request to God, like approach God without letting your mind come up with all the possible scenarios.
Yeah.
Put God in there first, right? And then Paul goes on the next verse, and the peace of God, which transcends all understanding. Our brains are only capable of understanding so much. We're processing all this amazing information, but our worry is because the transcending peace of God is bigger than that. Mm-hmm. But if we don't pause for it, if we don't have the gratitude, if we don't invite it in, we can't experience it.
I'm gonna maybe blow your mind on this.
Do it.
I find a lot when I'm praying and I have something on my mind that I want God's help with or whatever, right? When I start with gratitude, I almost never get to the want or the ask or the whatever, because I realize all the things that are going on in my life that I'm thankful for, that whatever I'm praying about seems insignificant at that point.
So it's a reset button.
It's like a reset button for me, if you're worried about, we'll say something dumb, right? Like you got to go to the dentist and you're worried about, like, I hope my teeth are okay. And I hate the dentist, by the way. So like, never want to go. And then they're like, oh, we're going to have to give you a filling. Like that's a nightmare to me, right? So like, just something simple, right? Where you're just like, hey, I hope, I really hope this medical procedure, whatever, goes okay. Well, I mean, we're not talking about cancer or anything crazy, right? But just, something normal. When I pray and I start with, hey, thank you for my family. Thank you for me waking up this morning. Like I got plenty of food in the pantry to feed everybody. And you just start going down the list of everything you're thankful for. I don't know. I don't say I forget. I'm like, shoot, I can go to the dentist. There's all this great stuff going on.
A little perspective change.
I know it's a little perspective change. So I would, and I'm sure that's where you're going with it. I would tell anybody that if you're worried about something, and you give it to God, right? That's what we're talking about. Give God your worry, and He'll give you peace. But I think it's when you approach God with that, do it with thanksgiving first. And I would encourage you to just start listing everything that you're thankful for and get like weirdly granular with it, like, hey, I'm thankful to wake up. I'm thankful I'm still breathing. I'm thankful, of this and that and this and that. And then just see if you even remember what you're worried about anymore. because I bet you're not in the moment right now. It may come back, right? That worry may come back in an hour or two.
Yeah, like
or a
have
day.
you ever had something something very tangible that was completely overwhelming? Like just, we get better at this as we get older, but like a kid tried, you're like, all right, go clean your room. And it's like, oh no, like the size of the mess.
Oh yeah.
Or, the 3 days worth of dishes. Or
Just folding laundry when
the
kids,
mountain
right?
of laundry.
Oh, this is gonna take me all night.
I actually had that conversation this morning. I was throwing laundry in before a kid got on the bus. He was like, wait a minute. We're doing laundry today?
When I get back, I gotta do laundry. It's gonna take me all night.
It was almost like he was like, I wonder if there's like an after school program I can stick around
Right.
here. Like it was like processing all the possibilities. Just like,
all right. First off, I just want to stop, okay, for a second, and apologize to our live like YouTube viewers, not the podcast people, because you don't know. But last week I referenced that we were going to have something cool on the show, and we don't.
oh right,
Because someone forgot it.
no.
So I just want to apologize for that mishap on somebody's part. And maybe next week we'll have it. But
And it's not my Clark W. Griswold National Lampoon
no, it's something even
logo.
better. It's something even better.
Santa Claus hat.
But we did get a new background.
Yep.
So if you haven't checked us out on YouTube, don't watch the previous ones because it's just a wall behind us and it's really boring.
Yeah.
But now we have all these books.
I say never look back. That's what I say.
never, always go forward.
Don't go back in time.
Well, if you did, buy Apple in the early 2000s. That's my tip.
Hot take.
Hot take. It was like $2 or $3 a share. Like,
Hey.
buy Apple.
We don't have some big grand conclusion for this one.
No.
So
No.
we kind of ran out of time. We rambled a lot. I hope you're not worried that this didn't end. And
Check us back next week.
yeah, with more content. I'm Mitch,
I'm Keith.
and this has been Layman's Term Show.
We'll see you later.